Hi everyone, and welcome to your first introductory session to the Newbook Property Management System. We are so excited to have you join the Newbook family, and we're really looking forward to commencing this onboarding journey with you and your team. This session is to give you a good overview into our system at a property level, and today we'll be walking through how to log in, how to navigate, making a booking or a reservation, completing a payment, and also ensuring you know how to balance your end of day payments and refunds. In addition to this, we'll also showcase our amazing built-in knowledge base, which will provide quick and easy access to free FAQ articles, video tutorials, webinar registration, and also how you're able to reach out to our support team if you have any technical queries. So let's get started. To access Newbook, simply open a Google Chrome browser and head to login.newbook.cloud. Once you're on this page, each of you will simply need to enter your unique username, password, and login code, and this will allow you to access a specific property that you work at. When you log into Newbook for the first time, you will need to accept our end user license agreement, which is essentially just the terms and conditions of using this software. Once you've accepted it, you'll then be taken to our front desk page or dashboard, which we can see here. Amazing. So let's start with a quick run through of the screen and some key areas to navigate through the system. So on our front desk page, you'll notice we have an amazing dashboard, which is essentially your home screen. This has some helpful gauges and tiles which provide you with shortcuts to access areas of the system that you may use frequently. In addition to this, we also have some property snapshot information at the bottom of the page, and this is great if you need quick access to some reporting figures within the system. Throughout Newbook, we do provide you with ways to configure certain reports, pages, or lists based on your user preference. If you want to see if you're able to add or remove items from a page, simply click in the Options button in the top right corner. Once you select here, you'll simply need to click on Configuration, and if your user has access to do so, you'll then be able to add or remove options from your screen and save. Moving into the next section, I'd like to point out the question mark icon located in the top right corner of every page within the Newbook system. This is our knowledge base, and it is definitely going to become your new best friend. When in doubt, simply click on this icon, and it will display helpful articles and videos for the page that you are viewing. If it's something that you find helpful, you can then simply click on the love heart icon, and it will store this in your favorite section to refer to again down the track. This page will also allow you to search for articles, and it will also show you links to access all free video tutorials, register for webinars, or watch ones that have been previously recorded. And last but not least, if you do require any additional support or consultancy or have any technical queries, you are able to reach out to our incredible support team via our support request section here. If it is a business critical query, we always recommend giving us a call. However, if you simply lodge a ticket, it will be delivered to our entire support team across the globe. Further to the right, we then have your user details. So when you first log into the system, if you do need to update any of your personal information, such as your cell phone number, email, or even your password, simply click into the top right-hand corner and select your user profile. You'll then notice the options that will appear in the top right, and if you'd like to make an adjustment, simply select Edit, and you'll then be able to make those changes. I would also like to point out the user profile section located at the bottom of the page here. Each of you will be assigned a user profile based on the role that you have within the business, and this is what will grant you access to certain features or reports and functionality within the Newbook system. If you do have any queries about this or would like to request additional access, this is something that you would need to discuss with your direct manager or operations team so that they can arrange this for you. Moving on to the next section, when it comes to searching throughout the system, we have two main searches. The first one is our global search, and this is great for locating specific bookings or reservations, and you can search by using cell phone numbers, guest names, booking IDs, and many other options. Simply type in the global search located in the top center of the page and press enter. You'll then see a pop-up box appear, and it will display various tabs relating to different items or areas in the system. As an example, if I want to click on to a guest booking or reservation, I would click onto the booking tab here, and then onto the booking ID I wish to view or edit. Once selected, you'll then be taken to the full view of the booking, and in the top right of the page, you'll then see the options as to what you can do with this booking, such as edit the details or modify or cancel. Separate to our global search, we then have our main menu search located in the top left corner. This is where you're able to locate all of our amazing features and reports. If you simply click on the three lines here, it will expand the menu across and allow you to search through the menu for what you're after, or if you would simply like to explore what features are available, you can also click into each tab to expand different areas within Newbook. Located to the right of our menu search is our Newbook logo. If you click on this, it's a helpful shortcut that will always bring you back to our front desk page. Located directly underneath our menu search and logo, we then have our favorites bar. Now this is great as it will be available on every single page that you view within the Newbook system. So for those of you who will be accessing Newbook every day and using specific features or reports regularly, you're able to pin these to the favorites bar on the left of the screen. Again, this will give you quick and easy access to these areas no matter what page you are on within the system. If you wish to add, simply click on the plus sign at the bottom here and use the search to locate and then pin it to your favorites by clicking on the star to the right. You'll then see it appear in your menu list. The last item I'd like to point out is our today's summary, which will display by default for all users in your favorites bar. This is a great shortcut that expands to show you various lists and reports within the system. As an example, if I want to go to my in-house list or even check a new arrival into the system, I can click onto the today's summary to go directly into these areas. This section also provides you with the ability to add and remove items based on your role, provided you have access to do so, by simply clicking on the configuration cog icon in the top right here. Now that we've taken a look at how to navigate through the system and locate some key areas of Newbook, let's take a look at how we're able to make bookings within the system. For new users, our bookings chart is a great place to start making bookings from. However, please note it isn't the only area. We do recommend this as a starting point as the chart does have multi-purpose use. As an example, if I click into my booking chart, which you'll see I already have pinned into my favorites on the left-hand side, it's going to take us to a grid view of all of our rooms and sites, and it's also going to show bookings that have already been allocated against these. The chart can also be used to make other types of bookings, such as group bookings, when you have those larger groups of people that might be traveling together and potentially wish to pay to one central master account for the group organizer, or even our split booking functionality, which is great if you need to book a guest in during a busy season when you have limited availability and you may need to split them across different rooms or sites during their booking. We can also quickly quote pricing over the phone just by simply clicking on the nights the guest wishes to stay and hovering, and then we will see the price that we can quote over the phone. Moving bookings is super simple as well. It's just a matter of dragging and dropping them in the chart and then saving that change by clicking save in the top right corner. Lastly, you also have really quick access to block out any room or site for maintenance by simply clicking the length that you would like to block it out for, and in the top right, selecting Add New Maintenance Task. We also have some helpful shortcuts in the top right menu here, such as our chart mode. Again, this particular section is where we're able to make different types of bookings, such as group or split bookings. If you happen to have a large list of accommodation types at your business, you can also use the Jump To shortcut, which will quickly take you to that style of accommodation on the chart without having to scroll up and down. The Rate Period shortcut is also helpful if you'd like to quickly jump to different seasons or rate periods you have throughout the year, such as your mid or low season dates. The date calendar can be used to jump to specific dates that a guest is wanting to come and stay, and it will reload to show the availability. We also have the filter button here, which allows us to filter results based on a guest's specific requests. This could be anything from the size of the RV or equipment that they're actually traveling with. We can also use the accommodation features filter to only show accommodation that has specific features within it. On the left-hand side here, you will see each of your different categories of accommodation, and directly underneath the room number or site number associated with them. This is where we can quickly see the room site status information as well. So whether it is going to be clean, dirty, or ready to inspect, if it is a cabin style accommodation that requires housekeeping. And lastly, the colours of the bookings that we do see allocated to the chart are actually telling us the status of that booking. As an example, if they've confirmed their booking with a requested deposit or full payment, it will be green for confirmed. If they're yet to pay or have not paid the requested deposit in full, it may appear as unconfirmed in yellow. When they check in, they will turn blue for arrived, and once they have actually been checked out of Newbook, they will change to purple. The advanced button here, when you select this, will expand to show you the color key for these statuses if you're ever unsure what they are. When it comes to actually going ahead and booking in a guest to come and stay, what we can do is simply select the amount of nights that they wish to stay. Again, when you hover, you will get the total cost for those nights that you've selected. Before you go ahead and add this in, we also recommend that you take a look at the filter option where you have adults, children, and infants. And this is where if you do happen to charge for additional occupants or guests, that if you enter the values in here, you'll see that the rate or price jumps up to accommodate that extra charge. That just ensures that you're obviously quoting the accurate price to the guest. If you then want to go ahead and make the booking, we simply head to Add from Chart in the top right corner and select New Booking. Once you're on this screen here, you will need to fill out any mandatory pieces of information that have been set for your property. The first section we have here is the guest. Now, if they have stayed before, we always recommend that you get in the habit of actually searching and selecting the guest profile that is saved so that you don't create duplicate guest names within your database. As an example, if I search for Jane Doe, we can see she appears. Once you have selected a guest, underneath you'll also notice if they are a member, it will automatically pre-fill in the guest membership section here. You'll also notice down on the bottom right that it will pull through the default discount that they're eligible to receive based on that membership. If we have a guest that has not stayed before, we'll be able to see it says no results, click here to create a new guest. Once you select that button, a pop-up window will appear and you'll simply need to read through all of the fields of information that you need to enter. We have our first and last name at the top, which is pre-filled. And just noting that on the right-hand side, for those of you who have guests that travel and you potentially have a restaurant or cafe on site and need to note dietary requirements, that is a piece of information you can log against the guest. We can also VIP guests so that we can see them clearly on the chart and on our arrivals list. And if a guest does stay and cause any trouble, you can also ban the guest to essentially stop them from coming back and staying. If we move down, we then have our address details tab, which is powered by Google. So as long as it is a registered address, simply click into the address lookup and start typing. It will then start filtering down to locate any registered addresses, and you can select and it will pre-fill in those boxes below. We then have our guest equipment tab, which can be used or activated if you happen to have a RV or campground where site dimensions or sizing is essential and you want to ensure that you're allocating people to the appropriate sized sites. To add the equipment they're going to be traveling with, click on this tab and then select Add Guest Equipment. You can then place a name for the equipment that they're traveling with, enter the certain dimension values such as the length, width or height, and then also the equipment type, which is an additional option you can enable if there are certain site types that only allow RVs specifically to stay on them, or tents or campers and so on. There are additional options here as well, such as the registration of that equipment and the expiry that you can enter in. Moving below, we then have our contact details. By default, we show the email and cell phone or mobile number section. Simply click into these boxes to save the information. If you'd like to remove either of these, click on the remove icon in the far right corner. If you'd like to add any additional information or contact details, you then have the add contact detail button in the top, which will add an additional line and allow you to change the options of the piece of information you're registering. The note tab that we see here is also helpful if you need to note down any important information about the guest that you want to communicate your staff anytime they actually come and stay with you. Now that we have all of the information we need, all we need to do is select Save in the bottom right, and that will create a brand new guest profile. And next time they want to stay with us, we'll be able to search and select them in the system. Directly underneath, for those of you who are using the guest equipment feature, you can then see that the equipment has pulled through into this section below. For those of you who do not have this enabled, please note this section will not appear. If we look further down, we then have our arrival and departure dates, which are pre-filled from the chart, but we can click on the calendar icon if we wish to adjust either of these dates. We want to confirm that the amount of occupants or occupant types is correct, so we want to check the adults, children, infants, and pets section here. Over on the right, we then have our site drop-down, which again has pre-filled the site or room that we've allocated from the chart. You can click in here if you would like to place them in a different room or site. You have the search option here if you want to filter to find a particular one that they're interested in. You also have located to the right of your sites a park map icon or option. If you have new staff, this is great if you've got a map uploaded. You can click on here and it's actually going to show you what sites or rooms you have available at your property. You simply need to double click and that will then show or automatically upload that new site or room to the booking. If you have guests requesting to stay in a particular room or site, you are also able to select yes on the locked option here. Once you select this, you can then add a note to ensure that staff are aware as to why you have locked this booking, and it will also prevent people from dragging or dropping this around to other rooms or sites on the booking chart. Flagged underneath this also is an additional feature you're able to use. Every property is different, but it can be a great way to communicate specific items to different staff members, such as I may flag bookings that are due to pay on arrival, or I may flag bookings that have been potentially difficult to deal with. Simply click yes, and you'll also be able to add a note. And these icons that you see here, so the little flag icon or the lock symbol here, will appear on areas such as your bookings chart if you choose to view that. Every new booking that you are manually making as a staff member will default to the unconfirmed status. And that just means that Newbook will allocate the booking once it's saved to the room or site that we've saved it against. And it will only update to confirmed once it meets your payment or deposit requests or requirements. If we move down the screen, we head into our booking billing section. So this is all to do with what this guest is actually going to be paying for their stay. We can see the quoted rates button here is highlighted, and directly underneath here we can see the nights that have been selected and what the cost works out to be per night. We then have the calculated stay cost, so the full cost, and underneath here what it actually works out to be on average per night. Each property will display all available rates that have been applied during the dates that the guest is booking. So you may have multiple columns that display the different rates available for them to book. Over on the right, we then have our booking discount section. Now, if they were a member, please note that it will automatically apply the eligible membership discount that has been configured in your system. If it's just a general booking discount that you would like to give off of their stay, you can click into the drop-down option here and it will show you a list of all other discounts that have been set up for your particular business. Once you select these, it will then recalculate the total cost of your stay below, tell you exactly how much they will be discounted and what the new cost is. Underneath our billing section, I would also like to point out our deposit rule button and our adjustment fee button. These have been preset within the rate and are generally indicative of whatever your rules are at your property in regards to what the guest has to pay in order for Newbook to confirm the booking, and also any sort of automated cancellation fees that they might incur if they cancel during a particular date range. As you can see, it's telling us exactly how much below in our booking deposit section that the guest has to pay and what date they need to pay it by in order to confirm their booking. Underneath that, we then have our cancellation fee, which is advising if they cancel 7 days within their booking arrival, Newbook will know to raise a cancellation fee to absorb one night accommodation. We would simply let the guests know what they need to pay and also what the cancellation fee is if they were to cancel. And once we've done that, we can then select Save Booking either in the top right corner of the page or at the very bottom, depending on your preference. Once that's saved, you'll be able to see at the top of the page here that it has now generated a unique booking ID for the guest. And you'll also notice that the text is appearing in red. That indicates that they actually owe us money. So the next step I'd like to walk through is actually taking a payment within the Newbook system and how we're also able to send them a receipt manually out of Newbook along with a booking confirmation showing what they've paid and what their outstanding balance is. Please note that each property does have access to configure automated correspondence or automated contact within Newbook to send out various guest communications such as receipts and booking confirmations. We do, however, like to touch on it in this video tutorial to show you how to manually send these things to your guests in case they request you to resend any information. To take a payment, when we're viewing our booking, within our booking billing box here, you'll notice there are two boxes, one in blue for the deposit that they need to pay in order to update their booking today from unconfirmed to confirmed. And we also have a red box here, which is always going to show the total outstanding balance. So we can use either option to make a payment. If they are just wanting to select the deposit amount today, we can click on this deposit box and it's going to bring up a add payment page where it pre-fills the requested deposit amount for us. If they would like to pay a little bit more, we're able to override this value here within the payment amount and change it to what we would like to charge the guest. Underneath, we then have our options as to how we're going to transact this actual payment. For manual payments, this is going to be for any non-integrated payment method that you offer at your property. This could be cash, check, direct funds transfer or bank transfer into your bank account, but it could also be a manual credit card payment that you've taken from an external credit card machine that is not integrated with Newbook. The manual payment option is there to reflect that you have successfully received the money externally and you're simply adding it in here to settle the booking account and to ensure your end of day report balances what you've received externally. Our second option here is the credit card gateway. Now, for those of you who have an integrated gateway, this essentially allows us to process a credit card through your Newbook system, and it will actually take the money, pop it in your bank account without the need to use a physical machine. This can be used for staff processing payments for bookings that they're making like we're doing now. And the credit card gateway option is also how guests are going to be taking payments when they process or make a booking via your direct website. Please note, we do not store raw credit card credentials in Newbook. As soon as a card is added, it is tokenized securely via your credit card gateway. Therefore, you will never be able to see a physical card number within the system. If we click on this option here, if they did happen to have one on file, you'll be able to select the card here and then simply select Process Card through the gateway and save. If they did not have one on file, you simply select the plus sign where it says Add New, where a pop-up window will appear allowing you to enter the card number in this section. And once you've saved this, you'll then be able to process that card via the gateway. If it goes through, it will take you to a receipt. If there are any payment errors, you'll be kept on this screen with a red warning message advising why it did not go through. The third option we have here as well is an integrated terminal payment option. So for those of you who do have integrated terminals connected to your Newbook system, you can actually send this payment amount through to the machine. It will light up, the guest will use their card, and once it's successful, it will send a message back to Newbook to save that payment as a successful transaction. For today's scenario, I am going to select a credit card gateway transaction, which we can select here. I'm going to click the card on file, and before I process this, I would also like to note down these 3 boxes below, which will allow us to either view the receipt once we save this, and that can allow us to print it if they were in front of us. We also have an auto email receipt button, which will, if we select this, actually send this receipt automatically through to the guest, provided they have an email on file. The third option we have as well is manually email the receipt, which is a great option if we're wanting to send them something, but maybe we want to also type out a little email with some custom information through to our guest. Today we're just going to view the receipt, and I'm going to select Process Card Through Gateway and Save. Now that that's gone through, you'll see it's taken us to the view of our receipt. It's processed the card, updated the booking to confirmed, and receipted that payment. If we wanted to print this off, we have our print option in the top right corner here. We also have the ability to, from here, actually send it to the guest. So if we did now decide that we wanted to send it through to them, we simply select the contact and then send button here. This will pull us through to our send contact page, where at the top you'll notice it's pulling through the guest email address. We also have the add email address button on the right here, which we can also click if we'd like to send it to an additional person. Moving down, we then have a list of what we call contact templates. Now, these are going to be pre-configured templates based on what you at your property send to your guests for different communication reasons. So today, I'm actually going to send through my booking confirmation, which you'll notice loads a name and subject here. You'll also see that the attachment of the PDF receipt is sitting in our Add Attachment section. The post clip icon on the right also allows you to add anything additional to this email that you'd like to attach. If we have a look within the email content section here, this is where we can see exactly what it is that the guest is going to receive, such as their total price, amount that they've paid, and what is outstanding. This template has also had some helpful links inserted into it, which is great for self-service for the guest. So if the guest actually wanted to maybe view their booking details online or pay off their outstanding balance, they can simply do that by clicking this link and paying online. If we're happy to send, simply click Send Email in the top right, and that will then send off to your booking guest. It's taken us back to a view of the receipt, indicating it's successfully sent. If we wanted to go back and view the booking just to cross-check our details, you'll see the red text in the top because they still owe money. However, the booking status is now changed to confirmed, and we can see the balance has gone down here for the total amount that they owe us. Over on the left, we can also see any correspondence or contact that we've sent through to that guest. Now that we've gone ahead and made our booking and we've taken our payment and we've sent our correspondence through to that guest for their booking confirmation, I would just like to make note that the booking chart, again, it's not the only place that you can make bookings from within the system. If we head over to our main menu search in the top left, we can locate and open our bookings map. When we click into this, it's going to show you your property map. And in the top, it will have a legend that will tell you exactly what is available, what's occupied, what rooms or sites may be dirty, and which ones may be blocked out or occupied due to a maintenance task. So you'll be able to see the color coordinated icons on your map. If we head to the bottom of the page, that's where we can then select things such as our arrival and departure date, the amount of people that are wanting to stay, and we can also filter to specifically show certain styles of accommodation that the guest is interested in staying in. Once we reload the map to reflect those changes, you can then simply double click on the green room or site that you'd like to book, and from here you'd select Add Booking. That will then take you to the same add booking page that we got to via our booking chart previously. In addition to the booking map, we also have our quote booking page, which is great if you're wanting to visually see bulk pricing and availability over certain dates. Once you click into here, you're able to search for the guest name, filter the dates of their stay. If you know they're genuinely wanting to stay, we would change the booking status to unconfirmed, filter down occupants and any other restrictions based on what they're after, and we can then calculate what we have. That will show you all of your categories of accommodation, how many available sites you have in each one. You also have the ability on the far right-hand side to actually add the booking directly from here. As you can see, there are multiple ways that you're able to make your reservations or bookings in the Newbook system. It really comes down to your personal preference and what you prefer to use. The last section I'm going to show you today is our end of day report. Now, this report in Newbook is called our transaction flow report, and it's going to show every payment and refund that we've processed through the system today. It's great for ensuring that we balance our till and any external transactions that we've actually processed and recorded within the Newbook system. So this can be found in our main menu search in the top left by searching for transaction flow. Once you're on the report, if you're simply looking at the current day's transactions, leave it on day. And also on the right-hand side, we want the output to be viewed on screen so that if there are any adjustments that we need to make, we can do so within the system. We do have some advanced options on this report as well. If you select this button, it will allow you to change how you view it and how certain details are grouped. Otherwise, simply run the report. You'll then see a summary of the total transactions that you've taken for the day. You'll be able to see the various payment methods such as Visa or cash. You can see the total transactions that were processed for each payment method. You then will have a column that states manual entry, and this is extra important to cross-check this section because manual payments or manual refunds are things that you've processed outside of the system, such as someone handing you cash or somebody handing you a check or somebody externally transferring money into your bank account. It could also be a credit card transaction that has been processed via a credit card machine that does not integrate with Newbook. Therefore, if you have any credit card payments appearing in the manual entry column, you should ensure that when you print your credit card machine totals for the day, that the total on that machine equals the total in the manual credit card column on this report. If it does not, you'll then need to go through each of those manual receipts and check what is missing and what you need to adjust. Over on the right, we then have our credit card gateway. Now, this is going to show credit cards that have legitimately gone through into your actual bank account or have been successfully processed. If a mistake has been made to a credit card gateway transaction, it generally means you've either processed too much or too little, which would mean you would need to either process another payment to take more or process a refund to give the incorrect amount that you overcharged back to the guest. Down the bottom, we then see the list of itemized transactions. You'll have a tab for all of the manual entry payments and refunds here. If you realize you need to update one, as an example, if a cash payment was processed for $1,000, but it was actually meant to be $100, we can click on the pencil icon here. A pop-up window is going to appear, and all we need to do is adjust the amount to 100 and then save. Now, because we've done it the same day, it's not going to void and recreate the transaction. It's simply going to correct that manual mistake on that manual payment that I'd processed. So you'll see here that it's refreshed and it can correctly show the new total on the report. If by chance you forget to run this report and a week later you do find out that one of those payments was incorrect and you need to adjust it, the Newbook system, when you make the adjustment or change, will void the transaction on the date that you make the adjustment and then replace it with the corrected payment or refund that you're replacing. This will mean that that mistake has now successfully been corrected within the system, and your accounts team are going to be able to see that correction in the transaction flow report. Now, before I finish this session today, I would just like to reiterate that each user is going to have different access to what they actually see and are able to complete in the Newbook system. And this will fundamentally come down to what your specific roles are and which user profile you've been assigned to. If at any point you believe you require additional access to a particular report or feature within Newbook, we do recommend that you reach out to your direct manager so that they can correctly update that for you or request the approval to get that added to your user profile. That does bring us to the end of our session today. We hope you've enjoyed and we look forward to seeing you in our next video tutorials.